Story number 2 has to do with the relationships that happen. I mean, like I said, I haven't lived in Simi Valley since November of 1993. The last time I was back for a visit was summer of 1999. But at Hawks Wake, everybody got talking, everybody got on Facebook, everybody, started friending me, and I started talking to people on a daily or at least weekly basis who I hadn't talked to in easily 10 or 15 years, and it was like I never left. And those are the kind of relationships that happen. I mean, when you get down there and you are finally, I guess for no better way of putting it, welcomed into the group, and chances are some of you guys, the newbies, the rookies, you have a handle. Don't be surprised if a little bit later on you get a handle assigned to you. That's the one that's going to stick. That's who you will forever be from that point on. It's Gary. I forget what the heck we called him, but one day Kevin called him the Dorky Hippo. It's stuck, and he will always and forever be the Dorky Hippo. It's just something that happens. When that happens, you're in. It's like being in the mafia. You're in for life now. There's no getting away from it. But also, we've had quite a few marriages come out of the group. Mike Foxhunter and his wife Kathy, Dave Snooper and Kim, Randy Ehrman and Teresa, and in my case, Mr. Wizard meets Squeaky. And I think that's the second story I want to tell because that's rather unique. Most people probably don't know the backstory. And that came about, I guess Katrina started coming down to the lot originally with Brett. They went to high school together. He invited her to come with him. I think it was around summer '86, I want to say, is when we first saw a little redhead who soon became known as Squeaky because of the way she laughed. And it was, I said summer '86, I believe, is when she first, spring or summer '86, when she first started showing up down at Kmart. She was originally, she'd ridden with Randy once or twice, Randy and Teresa. She stopped that one day when Randy drove his Courier into a very large hole and, in her words, tried to kill her. And I think that was the same evening I tore the bumper off of Randy's truck trying to pull him out of that hole. Then she was riding with, she and Brett were riding with Jay, and I think Jay had his Hot Rod Mustang at the time, and after 3 or 4 trips with Jay, she was just scared to, when he pulled off the 23 freeway and did a donut at about 60 miles an hour in the middle of the freeway, she didn't want anything more to do with that. And at the time, Mikey Cheek, Captain Crunch, was riding shotgun, reading meter for me. And so we're just kind of sitting there, and I'm talking to Katrina, and she's like, this guy scares me. So I don't want to die. I'm only 19. I don't want to die. And I'm like, well, I got room in my truck if you want to ride with me. It makes you feel better. That way you don't have to ride with him. So she climbed in, and she started riding with me in the truck when she came down. I guess it was a couple months after, maybe 3 or 4 months after that, caught wind of a rumor that was going around the parking lot. The rumor was that Katrina and I were dating secretly on the side. We didn't want anybody down at the lot to know about it. Funny thing is I really didn't know, I didn't know Katrina's phone number. I knew she lived up in the Bridle Path, but I didn't know her last name. Maybe I did know her last name, but knew very little about her. And here, all of a sudden, I caught whiff of this rumor that we were dating, and we didn't want anybody down at the lot to know about it. And I was working up in Palmdale at the time, so basically the only time I was in Simi, I would come down on Friday afternoon from work and leave Sunday afternoon to go back up. So the only time I was in Simi was to tea hunt. So how that rumor actually ever even got started, I have no idea. But anyway, I did a little bit of research, and I actually ended up, the way I found out where she lived is I called the operator. And this would never happen now, at least I hope it wouldn't happen now. I knew her last name, and I knew she lived up in the Bridle Path. I called the operator and said, I need a phone number. And I said, and I gave her the last name, and I said, it's in Simi Valley. And she had 2 people with that last name, and one was on a street in the Bridle Path. I said, that's the one I need right there. And she gave me the phone number, and I said, could you give me the address too? And she did. So that's how I found out where she lived. So I called her up on Friday before I left, and I said, do you mind if I stop by, before T-Hunts on Friday night? So I did. I went over on my motorcycle, and I knocked on the door. Her dad answers the door, and I asked to see her, and he promptly closed the door in front of me, and went and got Katrina, and I heard her yell from the other side of the house. Why did you leave him on the porch? Whatever. So I went. Brett was there. I think Andrew and Gwen were there too when I got there. So I asked her. I said, "Have you heard this rumor?" And she said, "What rumor is that?" I said that you and I are dating. And so we decided to have a little fun with it. We played it up. So whenever we were down at Kmart, we tried to stand next to each other, as close as kind of just be together as much as possible. We would get into the truck early before the tea was ready, that kind of thing, just kind of playing along with it. And of course the rumor mill fed off of that really well. And I guess it was maybe a month or so after that, I was talking with her, and I said, it would be a terrible, terrible thing if, we've been dating and then we broke up, and you and I actually never really went out on a real date. So I think it was a couple weeks after Valentine's Day, 1987, we went to the movies. An honest to God for real date. According to people down at the lot, by that time we'd been dating for almost a year. But we actually went on our first date a couple weekends after Valentine's Day, 1987. To make a long story short, that October we got engaged, and the following November, 1988, we got married. So, rumors can be a marvelous thing. We've been, good grief, 22nd anniversary coming up this year. So that's kind of the 2 little stories I wanted to tell for this week's edition. Showing the uniqueness of what is the group that we have. I still consider myself a part of the group, even though I'm 2,500 miles away. I can call and I can talk to any of these people, and it's like I never left. And talk to them on Facebook, talk to them on the phone. Last week we actually did a Skype thing on a laptop because Dave was doing the whole high tech thing. But it's a great thing to have a group of people like that who just you're that tight. So that being said, I have one special piece of advice for all the rookies and all the newbies. Having watched the videos, especially the first one of the crate hide that Dave did, and his little comments like with Lickety Split, who doesn't like to get dirty, and all the other stuff, for all the newbies, all the rookies, all the runners who don't have their own vehicle just yet, but who I'm sure will in the future, remember this. This was told, I believe this was first told to me by Mr. Stephen Gomper Stomper himself. That is this: sometimes you got to go where they ain't to get to where they are. That's this week's episode. Talk to everybody later.